How's it going, guys? So this is lesson 2, so the one we would have had the second class of the week of science, and I saw from your homework folders one note that a lot of you have uploaded your pic collage and your lists of the various microorganisms that can affect human health, and we'll have a look at a few of them as we go through. So we'll try and pretty much get through the rest of the learning outcome today, and we'll do that in one note. So we'll have a look at a few bits of the kingdoms of what kind of things that are alive, other than animals and plants, which we know, but there's other stuff that are alive in the world that we're interested enough to take a look at, and how some of these things then can impact human health. So we're going to stick to that whole idea of positives of human health, negatives of human health, what can we do, what's genetic, and what are the small things that we can't see that can positively impact our health or negatively impact our health. So it's quite interesting to take a look at. So we go back to the OneNote. Bear in mind, all this is available there for you to look at any time. The video's there, you can pause, you can go back, you can look at it a few times if you want, or you can go into the OneNote and you can have a look at all the notes, because they're all there saved in your content library in the first year science group. Okay, so here into the OneNote and go back to this, because remember, this is where the course comes from. This is where what they wanted to know when we talk about junior cert exams. We're still going back, we always think back to what they could possibly ask us when it comes down to 2 years' time. We're sitting in a junior cert exam. What's human health affected by? Inherited and environmental factors, things like your nutrition, the choices you make in your life, and the examiner role. We're going to focus on this a good bit today, of microorganisms. So these microorganisms, how they affect our health. So this is yesterday's lesson, but I'm going to flip down to the bottom of yesterday's one. And you might have watched that YouTube video, and there's your homework, and so on. And then we're on to lesson 2. And I've taken this from 2 people's homework folder from the class, who put this into their homework folder. So this is one of the pic collages that someone did. So the positives that they do. So obviously, yes, dancing, really, really good for your mental health, good for your physical health. That is something that could impact your health positively. Cheerleading, yeah, I suppose, why not? Cheerleading, I'm sure it's good for your physical health. You got to be quite nimble for something like that. I wouldn't be able to anyway. And workouts of any description, obviously great in your living room, out on the road, all really, really good for positive mental and physical health. Negatives, I suppose, yes, spending too much time on your phone. Well, yeah, I suppose you do want to avoid that, don't you? Too much time on your phone. So if you're asked to list these in the junior cert, list a couple of positive and negative factors for physical or mental health. Well, this might be a nice answer right here in this pic collage that someone did for the homework. Junk food, yes, in large amounts. The odd, pizza sandwich is not going to do you too much damage, but I suppose it's all in moderation. It's all, if that's balanced with a load of broccoli during the week, and you have a curry on a Friday or a Saturday evening, it's not going to do too much damage. And I suppose watching TV, but again, watching TV it's not going to do you too much harm, as long as you're not watching TV loads and loads and loads. Okay, so there's one pic collage. There was another one down here. We'll stick with the pic collage for a second, which was really, really good. Like I said, loads of them are really, really good. I've had a look through a good few of them over the last couple of hours before starting this lesson. And in the negatives, this person says one of the main food here, chips. I suppose that's not great. It's loads of salt, loads of fat, and if you have the odd bag of chips, it's not great. But I suppose in big amounts, it's not great. This person has an obsession with cream eggs. Obviously sugar and fat and dairy and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot in there. Although I am partial to a cream egg every now and again, but it's a good an example of something that could negatively impact your health if you ate loads and loads and loads of cream eggs. And then popcorn. Popcorn often seen as quite healthy, but the problem is it has lots of salt in there. And obviously, if you go into the cinema and you say, here, throw a lot of butter on it, that's not going to be grand, because there's lots and lots of fat in butter. So you want to have basic popcorn, or if you're having butter popcorn, which is lovely, have it once in a blue moon, the odd time. And this person only drinks milk, but milk, obviously, them bones do need calcium. So drinking lots of milk is very good, but obviously if this person could up the intake of fruits or vegetables for all the vitamins and minerals that we talked about when we did food before Christmas, well, that would be, I suppose, an improvement that could bring about more positive health. Okay, I've put up this this video that you can have a look at on YouTube. It's really good. It's a video that explains the differences between viruses and bacteria. So kind of people kind of will say go to the doctor and ask for antibiotics if they have a cold, or they might go and ask for an antiviral medication if they have a throat infection, and get quite annoyed when the doctor says no, go home and take Lemsip and lie on the couch. But this video kind of goes into what's the difference between a virus and a bacteria. And I mean, the news is flooded with all sorts of, COVID this and COVID that, and development of a vaccine. You say, why don't doctors just try an antibiotic for this COVID thing? That seems to cure everything. But this video will go through the difference between viruses and bacteria, and why we need vaccines against some things, and why we need antibiotics against other things. And how they're quite different. So if you want to pause the video now and have a look at that video, it'll just give you an introduction to the differences between these two microorganisms, bacteria and viruses. Okay, but after you've watched the video, let's go on and look at the difference between the two of them. So if you have an example of a couple of them, before I do that, I'm just going to flick up, because I got a great example in the homework from someone who did a really good list of viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So they went to a common virus there, the common cold's a virus. Doctor won't give you an antibiotic for that, because antibiotics only work against bacteria. HIV is another virus, common virus. Hepatitis C. One we don't see too much anymore, polio, because we have a vaccination against it. Or influenza. We do see, but we have a vaccination against it. But the vaccination has to change all the time, because we know, like COVID's doing at the moment, it mutates to be slightly different. So we have to come up with a different vaccine every year. So there's a great list of, there's a great bacteria, a couple of bacteria ones there, pneumonia, real bacterial infection. And there's a great list of all the different types of viral, fungal and bacterial infections that are there. So this is one to have a read down through. I'll put an MB, important beside that homework, because it's a really comprehensive list. So that's a great pic collage from the homework, and some a list there from the homework as well. So go back down to here. Bacteria from the viruses. So this is why, if you look at a bacteria here in the left column, antibiotics are great for bacterial infections. Antibiotic means antibacterial. So things like if you get TB, if you get tuberculosis, which is not too common anymore, used to be fatal, but now tuberculosis, an antibiotic, easy. Or if you get streptococcal throat, throat infection, antibiotics are great against that. And all your chest infections, your kidney infections, all these kind of things that that are caused by bacteria, antibiotics are the way to go there. For viruses though, for things like the common cold, if you get flu, if you get COVID, an antibiotic is not going to work, because antibiotics only work against bacterial infections, and sometimes viral infections. The odd time only if the virus is living inside the bacteria. Okay, so we have a couple of examples of bacterial infections and a couple of examples of viral infections there for you. But that's the difference between them. Bacteria is killed by antibiotics. Viruses are not. Okay. Now, let's go in and look at all the things that can cause infection. So we're going to go into the whole. If we go back to when we started with the cell and all that, we started to look at the 7 characteristics of life, and we looked at all the things that were alive. And you remember, when we looked at all the things that are alive, we looked at mainly animals and we looked at plants. They're the two things that are alive. And I asked you to draw an animal, you would draw me a dog. If I asked you to draw me a plant, you would draw me something like this here. Sunflower with leaves and roots and stuff like that. And in I suppose, until you study this kind of stuff, the things that are alive are the animals, the snakes, the spiders, the tigers, the lions and all that, and the plants, the trees and the plants and so on. But there's more to it than that. So, and this is where we're going to go into the things that impact human health. Generally, unless you get attacked and killed by a lion, animals are not going to affect your physical health. But what might affect your physical health are things like this: bacteria, protists, which I'll get to that later on, or I think I can cut off there at the bottom now, sadly. But this word here is fungi. So, fungi. And you can generally have a bacterial infection, or you might get a fungal infection. And you might notice that viruses are not here. And we'll get to that in a few minutes, why viruses are not here. Anybody, actually, if anyone watched the video above, you'll figure out why viruses are not here. Because viruses are not necessarily considered living things. They kind of, we're not sure to really, are they living or are they not living? Because they're kind of in between, and they can only survive if they're inside someone else. So if they're inside an animal or inside a plant, they can be alive, kind of. But if they're out on their own, they don't survive. So that's why they're not considered. They don't go into this table of things that are alive. Okay, so we have animals and plants that the two you would have known. You have your fungi, which you probably know fungi as mushrooms or mold. Bacteria, and bacteria have an awful name. They really do. You know, we spend our time coming up with different ways to kill bacteria, antibiotics and antiseptic and sterile wipes and sanitizer and all these kind of things that kill bacteria. But bacteria, if you watched the video above, you would have seen bacteria are really quite good. Most of them are there to help us and do things that keep us healthy. But obviously, we spend our time sanitizing and killing most of them because some of them are pathogenic. So, this is a picture here. So the big purpley bluey thing in the middle there is a bacteria cell. And these big Star Trek-y looking yolks here are viruses. So viruses often look like this. They have this capsid on top. It's like a protein coat. And in here is all their DNA, or in viruses generally is RNA. And they have these funny spidery looking leg yolks. And what they do is, so if you take a look at this fella here is after clamping on to the cell. And in here he has all his viral RNA, like that. And he has a little syringy thing down here at the bottom. And what he's going to do is he's going to inject all this viral RNA up here, down and into the bacteria cell. So that all the information about how to make new viruses is going to go into that viral cell. So if I go over here and I draw that bacteria cell, like as a circle, and I draw a little virus on like that, like this, and all the RNA, remember I said, is in here, so RNA and DNA is in here. And what he does is he injects that in there, like that, and all that viral RNA goes inside the bacteria cell, or inside one of your cells, more so. So if this guy here is COVID, now I know COVID looks slightly different. COVID looks like a circle with all these spike proteins on the outside, but they're essentially the same thing. They're equal to each other. And what happens here inside the cell is that, draw another one here, is that the cell then is tricked into making loads of baby viruses. And these baby viruses then, whoops, I'm after deleting the whole cell. What happens is these baby viruses make a hole in the cell, and the cell then bursts open, and all these new viruses. So where you had one virus here, you then get 1, 2, 3, 4, a load of viruses getting released into the body. So that's how viruses work. Viruses inject into the cell and reproduce inside the cell and then burst the cell open. And there, where you had one virus, you then have a load of viruses. Okay, so that's what's happening here. This guy here, get a different color. This guy here is going to go in, inject this stuff inside the bacteria cell, and this bacteria cell then will make loads of virus cells, and the virus will keep expanding and expanding, and then the person is feeling sicker and sicker and sicker. Okay, so that's how viruses work. You probably recognize this as something you might have in a nice carbonara of a Tuesday, a mushroom, and a mushroom is a type of fungi. So a mushroom is a type of fungi, and you have loads of different types of fungi. So this is one you might have in a salad. This is a lovely one that looks like a toadstool, looks kind of tasty with these white bits on top and all that. But this is called a death cap. This one here is called a death cap. So they kind of look very similar, except this one has a nice red top on it. But this one might be nice in a carbonara. This one would kill you in about an hour. So death cap is a very, very poisonous mushroom. You can look up death cap and see what's in it. There's enzymes that break down tissues inside the body and make you very, very, very sick. You might open a loaf of bread after a week to make a sandwich, and you might see something like this. So here you have mold growth on a slice of bread, okay, because it's been left out or it's got a bit damp, and mold is going on. And again, that's fungus, okay. So if we go down and have a look at the difference between the three of them. So if you remember we drew the cells. So if I was to draw a normal animal cell, I have a cell membrane, I have a nucleus there in the center. I might have a few of those mitochondria around, and the rest is just cytoplasm. So you would have drawn that. If I drew a plant cell, it might look slightly more complicated, more square, with a cell wall and a cell membrane. You all do this in your Christmas exam, with a nucleus and a vacuole. And it might have a few mitochondria, but it might also have these chloroplast things. So, but if we forget about human cells, so this is human cells and this is plant cells, forget about those for a second, and we go instead look at fungal cells, bacteria cells, and viruses. So fungi, same as humans, same as plants, have a cell membrane. They also have a cell wall. They also have a nucleus. Bacteria cells, same, cell membrane, cell wall. Bacteria cells have no nucleus. And viral cells, and this is the key why we don't call them living things, because they've no cell membrane, they've no cell wall, and they've no nucleus. They're just like we drew, which I'm after losing, we drew up here. They're these weird looking things like that, or this is your COVID one here. So they don't look like cells. They don't follow the same cellular structure that you see in animal cells, plant cells, fungal cells, or bacterial cells. Okay. Last thing I want to show you quickly is this. Go back up to this heading here. Is this area here? See these guys here, protists. These are the weirdos of all the kingdoms. Because usually animals are made up of loads of cells, and plants are made up of loads of cells, and so are fungus, and bacteria are only single cells. But these guys are like single-celled animals. So they're one cell, but they do all the things that humans do, like respiration, reproduction, growth, excretion, all those mad things that we spoke about before Christmas. And they do it even though they are only one cell. So they have a nucleus. They look kind of like a cell. So they have a nucleus. They have a vacuole. They have a cell membrane. They don't have a cell wall like a plant cell. But they also have things like this yolk here, this contractile vacuole. So this kind of scoops out water. So it's like bailing out a boat. If they get too full, this yolk comes to the side and throws water out to keep the cell this nice kind of, what's it, like little arms, aren't they? This yolk here, I suppose, is the most interesting thing about amoeba, pseudopods. So what they can do is, so if we take one arm here, so this is one arm, so here's arm 1 and here's arm 2. So what they'll do is they'll come across little bits of material in water. So you find these in water. So say it's a little small bacterium or something like that. And what they will do is they will extend this arm out here, around the bacteria, and they will extend this arm out here around the bacteria, and they will eat it. So what will happen is that whatever they're trying to eat will actually go inside and be digested, and they can excrete whatever they don't want as well. These pseudopod things, or pseudopodia in for plural, will also help them move. So they'll push the pseudopods in this direction if they want to go this way, and so on and so forth. So they can move around water. You find them in rivers and lakes and stuff like that. Okay, so that's your fifth kingdom. There's just a real life one of them. So here you go. So over here you have pseudopod 1. Down here you have pseudopod 2. So what they're going to do, this one's going to move this way. This one's going to move down this way. And they're going to eat this thing here. So this yolk's going to end up in the middle and be digested. And back here, so you can see the pseudopod is going back this way and back this way, which means that they're pushing back this way so that the amoeba can go this way. So obviously to try and get our friend Mr. Food down here. So that's quite interesting. And they're on their own. They're single-celled organisms that do all the 7 characteristics of living things, which is quite interesting. Now, I know that I'm going to go back up here to the homework for a second, right? So I've given you quite a good bit to do. And I know I'd say about 2/3 of you have it done and uploaded to you, the homework section of your OneNote, which is great. But I do want this done more so than below. So I do want the pic collage created. And also I want the list of fungal, viral and bacterial infections, because I think they are important when it comes down to having those done come exam time in 3rd year. So it's one of the more important things in crossing off this learning outcome. The second thing, if you as part of this lesson, so for the rest of it, the video won't go through, it won't take you more than 30 minutes. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a copy of this. So take a screenshot, fill it in. So this is it's a worksheet on bacteria, virus and fungi. And I want you to try and fill it in as best you can. Down the bottom here, don't worry about this bottom part here because it says working in groups of 4. This is one I would use if we're in school. So don't worry about that one there. But the rest, you should be able to copy this into the homework section of your OneNote and fill it in, and I'll take a look. But that should be done as part of the lesson because we don't have homework in the 2nd class of the week. The one thing I do want you to definitely have done in your homework, and the only thing I wanted for sure in your homework this week is these 2, your pic collage and your list of fungal, viral and bacterial infections. And what we're going to do next week then is we're going to go on and look at a bit of inheritance. So not environmental factors that can affect health, but genetic and conditions and so on that can be inherited from parents that could affect your health in a negative way and in a positive way. Right, last thing, on the Schoology, I'm going to put this now as a post on your Schoology. If you would just, when you see, would you put up a comment? Are you happy the way you using the videos, or would you like to switch to an online? So I'll put up a poll on the Schoology, and if you just tick that, and we'll just make sure that everyone is happy the way the first week has gone, so we can change things if needed for week 2. Right. I'm not talking to you. Have a great weekend, guys. If you have any issues, email me or stick up a comment on the Schoology, and I will talk to you soon.